Hello everyone, 'tis I, Dutchess. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dutchess. This is my channel, Dutchess Divinity. And we do lots of stuff here, but today I'm just going to talk a little bit, read the tarot, and then do some Reiki, and then I'm going to rest. I'm putting the chat off so I don't get distracted. Put my lip gloss on, because nobody wants dry lips. My favorite lip gloss. The only thing I like better than this lip gloss is the watermelon version of this lip gloss. Alright, so, hey guys. Please remember when people start coming in to like the video and share it. YouTube isn't always the best at notifying. So, yeah, and then always, please remember to keep the comments and the chat respectful. I've got some really good moderators, so either way, things will, remain decent in here, whether you like it or not. So might as well just be decent to start with, right? Everybody take a drink. Thank you for the likes. All right. So this video is brought to you by me slipping and falling on ice. So this morning, we had snow last night, and it was really nice, but comment below or in the chat if you live in an area that snows, and if your snow has been very strange. So, like, I live in Connecticut, and, we're having very strange and feels like weather modified snow. We've also been getting the strange fog. Like, it hasn't smelled like chemicals like a lot of people have talked about with the fog rolling through their areas, but we have been getting a lot of strange fogs for this time of year. And also too, our snow is very weird. Like, it's literally like little perfect circles. Like, the snowflakes are little perfect circles, and I have like videos and pictures of like actual regular snowflakes from last year. You know, like when it falls on like a blanket or something, or like your coat, and you can literally see like the shape of a snowflake, and it actually is like sacred geometry and stuff. I have videos and pictures of snowflakes like that from last year, and then this year all of the snowflakes have been circles, almost as if they're like really small hail, but they're not. They're just clusters of snow, which is really strange. So if you're in an area that it snows as well and you have strange snow, definitely let me know in the comments or in the like chat, because I will look at the chat once I'm done with everything. But I see some more people are coming in. Thanks for coming to the live. Please make sure to like it so more people get notified. Yeah, anyway, so it snowed last night. We got a really nice little coating of snow, and my neighbor plows my driveway, I believe, and if it's not him, it's my landlord, because like my neighbor plows and my landlord plows. So usually not usually, all the time, I'm very lucky. My driveway always gets plowed by a professional, and the walkways always get done, and it's always like salted. So I've been really lucky these last couple years to not slip on ice. Well, there's a part of my driveway that goes back towards the dumpster that is rocks, so it doesn't get plowed because, it's just rocks. And I went to go out and throw away garbage this morning, and it was a glacier underneath. It was a fucking glacier underneath the freshly fallen snow, and I was literally like a cartoon, like, whoa, 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 and I fell really hard, you guys. Like, I fell really hard. And then I stood up, and I tried to start walking to the garbage again, and I fell again. In the same way, and I freaking my wrist, and it made me realize, like, I've got very strong Gumby wrists. Like, I'm just very grateful to my body. My body's always working hard, and like, I am, I'm 32. My mom told me that when she was my age, she tried to do a cartwheel one time when she was playing with me and my sister, and she felt like she like ripped her whole body in half. So like, I am very blessed. I've got great genes, but I also work hard. I did acrobatics my whole life, I danced my whole life, and I've kept up that muscle memory into my adulthood because I really don't want to get to a certain age and I freaking throw out my back just doing regular shit. So, because that's just no way to live for me personally. Like, I always need to have really good mobility and athleticism in order for me to be a happy person in this life. So, I am super grateful to my body and for, like, you know, not getting too hurt when I fell down and being able to bounce back. But I literally I was on my way to the gym and for a yoga class, and this yoga class is always hard. Like, the teacher's great, but she really works our muscles. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm still gonna go. Like, I hit the ground so freaking hard. I landed on my hip and like my butt fat, which is good because like I could have freaking broken my teeth or something, right? Or like actually like broken a bone. But I landed on the fatty part of my body, my big old butt, which is great for me. I love having a big butt, especially in situations like this. But I was like, you know what? I'm still going to go and I'm going to take my yoga class. Like, I'm not going to let this ruin my morning. So I went into my yoga class and I modified because I was still feeling a bit sore because I got freaking whiplash, dude. Like, I fell so hard. If you've ever slipped on ice hard, you know. So, like, I fell so hard and got freaking whiplash, stood up, fell again, got more whiplash. So, anyway, I did my yoga class. And then I went in the sauna for like 15 or 20 minutes, and that helped me a lot too. And so that is what has inspired this live today, because I was so tired because yesterday was Yemaya's feast day. I have my poppet that I got in Salem from the Salem trip. When we went to Salem, they had different poppets that were made in New Orleans. So very authentic and beautiful to the culture down there. And oh, it's just like filling my heart with such joy. And you can see it's got the moss, like the southern moss in there. And I got one of Simbi as well. But for those of you who've been here a while, you know that I first started working with spirits through Simbi and Yemaya. Yemaya rescued me from the domestic abuse relationship I was in, and Simbi helped me to activate like my magician skills. So I somehow came across two poppets of the two first spirits that I ever worked with. And so yesterday was Yemaya's feast day, 2/2. So I did this beautiful big spread for her. I'll do a little reel and show you guys, because I'm charging up. I'm going to be making some candles for Valentine's Day, some sex and date night candles, maybe some beauty and glamour candles as well. Thanks for the likes, guys. But so, you know, I set up this really beautiful thing for Yemaya, and, you know, I had some of the other Orisha in there as well, like Ilegua and Oshun. And then the day before that was Imbolc, which is, you know, it's like more of like a Wiccan. I don't know too much about Imbolc. I only know what Doobie taught me. Doobie was very into Celtic magic, and so I remember through an Imbolc party one time for Bridget, and he said, he's like, Dutchess, you've come and you're the embodiment of Bridget, because I came and I was wearing like this like rose cardigan that had like realistic looking roses all over it, and I wore like a baby doll dress and like high heels, and I did like my hair and makeup really cute, and he was like, oh, you're embodying Bridget, like you're my vessel for Bridget tonight. And at the time I didn't know what that meant, because I wasn't as deep into my spirituality as I am now, but I was just like, okay. And then he set up a basket for her with like nylons and candies and stuff. And he was like, it'll be the highest honor if Bridget uses my basket for fornication. And so like we all went to bed that night, 'cause he had a party, so we were all drinking, and we all went to bed that night. We woke up and the basket was all messed up, and we all would sleep in the living room, like the people who didn't live there. So it was like no one could have messed it up without someone else like noticing that they were messing with his stuff on his altar. So we definitely felt like Bridget came through for that. But like that, thanks for the likes. That's the only, I'm just sitting here like just casually, me and Yemaya, my poppet. But that's the only thing I really know about Bridget. But I also do know that in Hoodoo there is Man Bridget. So it is a form of Bridget, because I guess And I was learning about this, like, from Candace Owens, about how, like, there were Irish immigrants and Irish slave owners as well that would go over to Jamaica. And so that was kind of how, like, some of the cultures were, like, combining, because you had Irish people bringing their, like, culture over to other areas that were having more, like, hoodoo or voodoo culture. And guys, please, I'm not claiming to be an expert in any of this. I'm just a girl on the internet who's done research, so please don't be offended if I'm, like, not getting this all perfect. You're always welcome to do your own research. You're always welcome to disagree with me. I'm just somebody who's, like, gathering information and then sharing it from what I've learned. So I'm definitely not an expert on this, like, on voodoo or hoodoo. I'm definitely not an expert on Celtic magic or anything like that. I'm never claiming to be, so just don't be offended, basically, because people get so freaking offended, like, when you're talking about religion and stuff, and it's like, I mean no harm, I guess is what I'm saying. So, Imbolc was the first, and I did a little setup for her. Some say that Madame Brigitte is also known as Oya of the 7 African powers, and others say that it's literally Bridget from the Celtic religion, and that's why Madame Brigitte is the only, like, white Orisha that you see, or Loa that you see, because it's like she's literally the, like, Celtic incarnation, but in, like, adopted into the hoodoo and voodoo culture. So, you okay, girls? The cats are next to me. When I get a boyfriend, I'm gonna have him help me, like, we're gonna make one of those but bigger, because I already know how I could do it. You just need a piece of plywood for the bottom, and then you need 2 like, round pieces of wood for the scratching post. Then you just need some, like, strong twine to wrap around the scratching post. You need some kind of, like, circular thing, and then I can actually sew. That's my next project, guys. I know how to make ceramics, and I briefly knew how to sew for a while, so I'm gonna relearn how to sew, and I have a vintage sewing machine that was gifted to me, like, 10 years ago. It's mint. It's really cool, like, mint colored, mint flavored, just kidding. And then I'm also going to get back into ceramics, because I really miss making ceramics. But anyway, yeah, so that's going to be a fun project once I have a man in my life to help me with that. Anyway, I'm getting distracted. So, Imbolc was the first, and I honored that, and I honored Bridget. And then the second, the 2-2 portal, is also Yemaya's feast day, so I made a very big altar for her, thanking her. I put other Orisha and Loa in there as well. And yeah, I'm just feeling good, but I'm feeling really tired, because if you do spiritual work yourself, you know that, like, when you're, thanks for the likes, you know that when you're working that frequency, it's like it can take a lot out of you, because you're moving, like, energies and frequencies that sometimes your physical body can't keep up with. So anyway, all of this to say, happy Imbolc, happy Yemaya's feast day. Thank you to Yemaya, the beautiful, wonderful mother spirit who helped to rescue me from a very dark place and aided me in creating the life I have now. Removed me from homelessness, removed me from pain and suffering, and from, you know, an evil romantic relationship that was attempting to kill me and harm me. So I just have to say thank you so much to Yemaya for that. And I'm gonna do a whole Reiki with her and everything and pull cards, but I've been tired. And then I slipped on the frickin' ice earlier, so then that made me more tired and, like, needing more rest. So I was in my yoga class, and I'm literally, like, I was realizing I was having a trauma response to, like, falling down, and I was thinking, like, oh, like, I should apply, like, at my gym. I've thought a little bit, like, oh, maybe I should apply to work at the daycare, because I really love kids, and it looks like there's not a lot of people that work at the daycare at my gym. So I was like, oh, like, thinking, it was, like, running through my head, like, maybe I should apply at the daycare, and then I can, you know, make some extra money, but also, like, it gives back to the community of the gym, it gives back to my wallet, and then also I'll be like, you know, I'm very good with children. I was a nanny for many years before I started my own business. and I babysat all my little cousins and stuff. Like, my family, we have, like, age ranges of, like, long-distance cousins or, like, aunts and uncles and stuff, where it's, like, it just ended up that when I was a teenager, I had, like, little baby cousins and stuff like that. So I just have a lot of experience with children, and I'm good at working with them. I'm good at teaching them things, and like, we have fun. So I'm thinking, I've been thinking for the last couple weeks, like, maybe I should apply. And then I was also thinking, you know, I have a lot of knowledge from when I was a competitive dancer for like 18 years. I could teach a whole freaking stretching class, because if you don't know, I'm like Gumby. I can fucking put my leg behind my head. I'm very flexible. So I've been like tossing that idea around. And then after I fell, like, in my yoga class, I realized I was having this trauma response where I was like, no, I need to apply. I don't need to apply. Like, I'm good. Like, in fact, it's probably better if I have more downtime and more rest time, but my trauma brain was like, oh, nope, you better you need to apply for that daycare job, and you need to also offer your services for stretching, and you need to do this, and you need to do that. And my brain was just like trauma responding by asking me to do more instead of resting after literally working, you know, that big spell yesterday. Plus, I do all this work for my channel and for my business here. Like, it's not like I'm not doing enough work. And then also I fucking fell down and really freaking hurt myself, and I'm like, well, no time to rest, I better just get right back to work. And then I realized, like, damn, like, that's a trauma response, and that I don't actually have to be acting like that. And so that's what inspired the title of this video, like, Pretty Girls Rest Unapologetically, because I just feel like we live in a society that it glorifies instant gratification and working yourself to the bone. And I also feel like it pushes this narrative that if you're not being, like, productive, if you're not, like, cleaning your house or working or doing other things like that, then you're worthless. And I even have had friends have conversations with me about that kind of thing, where it's like they feel worthless because maybe they hurt themselves and they can't, you know, clean the house, or they got sick and they need to just rest in bed. And if you've been with me for years, you know that I did not used to have the ability to do that. I was in such a state of fight or flight and thinking that I always had to perform all the time, that, like, I would get sick and I'd have to be in bed because I'd be so sick, and the entire time I'm in bed, I, like, can't stand it. I, like, can't stop my brain from racing. I can't stop feeling guilty even though, like, I'm vomiting and I need to rest, you know what I mean? So I've come really far from where I've been. But anyway, I just wanted to pull some cards and do some Reiki. Thank you for the likes. I just wanted to pull some cards and do some Reiki to aid others who might have that same trauma response as me, as, like, when something goes wrong, you feel like you need to perform, or you feel like, and even if nothing goes wrong and you're just tired, like, that feeling of, like, I can't sit down and rest. I just heard an object in motion stays in motion. And so, like, for me, I used to be terrified too, because, like, I did go through a deep depression at one point, and during that time I would be in bed a lot, and I think that's what, you know, the kids these days call bed rotting. I hate that statement. I think, you know, words are spells, and I think that that's a really disgusting, horrible way to just say you're resting. Like, just say you're freaking resting. But so, like, I used to quote unquote bed rot a lot when I had clinical depression, because I just literally couldn't move. And so I used to be scared to just rest, because I was afraid that if I did take that 15-minute nap, or I did take a day off, I'd never start again, right? Because I always would tell myself that an object in motion stays in motion, because when you are clinically depressed, if you can get started, like, on doing something, most of the time the ball will keep rolling until it can't. So I used to just be terrified to just do anything other than be productive or hustle. And then that kind of gets you nowhere, as we've talked about in other recent lives, that if you're not breaking down, you know, like, the negative self-talk or the subconscious patterns that have got you into this kind of feeling like you always need to perform, then it's like you can't even enjoy the fruits of your labor, because your brain still thinks you need to keep going and that it's never enough. So yeah, I just wanted to do this little live, and everybody take a drink. But yeah, so also I'm reading the book Chaos, because Candace Owens suggested that. Thank you for the likes, guys. I really like Candace Owens. There's it's crazy I even have to say this, but this is the time we're living in. I don't agree with everything she says and does, which is normal. Like, you're not supposed to agree with everything everyone says and does. Obviously not, right? She's like a very devout Catholic, and I'm sitting here with a poppet of Yamaya. So obviously I don't completely agree with everything. I'm my own person, which it should be normal nowadays, but I don't know. There's just so many hive-minded NPCs that can't separate, like, there's no nuance anymore with the hive mind. But anyway, she suggested to read this book, Chaos, and it's about, like, cover-ups and stuff from the 60s. It's about the CIA. It's about MK. And I'm just, like, so excited. I read the first 15 pages as soon as it came in yesterday. And I'm just, like, really excited because if you've been with me for a while, you know that, like, I've channeled a lot about the 70s and about, like, just the really messed up stuff that was going on during that time. We did the whole twin flame spell, the 70s, the mod files twin flame spell. I still have products on my website up from that. They're expensive for a reason, because that frequency was really intense to have to work with and channel, and the products are extremely potent. If anybody has any of those products, you can I'd appreciate it if you would leave reviews in the comments after. But I find those products to be extremely potent. They're no joke. Very similar to the Twin Flame Potion and the Ancient Kemetic Womb Potion. Those were really intense. I actually had a client who put on the Twin Flame Potion and then needed to use my Exorcism Potion because it just made her too crazy. So it's like, just know, guys, that if, like, something is, like, super expensive on my site, it's probably because it's being gatekept for a reason, because it's only the kind of frequency that, you know, you should be handling if you're prepared and ready for the pilgrimage that comes along with that frequency. Thank you for the likes. But anyway, so I'm reading Chaos. I'm really excited about that. So today I'm only in the very beginning, right? I haven't gotten into the meat and potatoes of it, but it's going to talk all about, like, the CIA corruption and all that crap and everything that was going on. Also, too, I do mean to toot my own horn, because we did the Twin Flame 70 spell in June, and then I don't know why I just keep bringing up Candace Owens in this episode, but then she started very shortly after that, I would say probably like the fall of 2024, she started to bring on whistleblowers that were a part of what was going on in the 60s and 70s, and they were confirming shit that I had channeled. Like, they were confirming it as of having been there. And so it was like, I so felt like that spell, like, prompted the truth to come out. And then I did also have a subscriber reach out to me, and her family member was alive during that time and was, like, watching people be trafficked and all this other stuff, and her family member doesn't speak English, so, like, the subscriber was going to translate and we were going to keep them anonymous, but then it was like her family member ended up getting scared and being like, well, I don't really want to talk about it, because it was just, like, such an intense time. But either way, whether they come on my channel someday or not and I get to interview them, it's just wild, because, like, it's just wild, because I channeled this stuff for myself and my clients, and a lot of people who were murdered or lost their lives in the 70s or 60s, they find me as clients, and then I can channel that past life stuff for them and clear it. But it's like, because they say that, right, that when you're a healer, when you're a reader, when you're a psychic, it's like you end up attracting, like attracts like. So it's like all these pieces start to get put together with different people who have different pieces of the puzzle connected to these different lives. And what we all have in common is we were all going to festivals, and festivals were a hot freaking spot. I just got chills up my entire body. They were a hot freaking spot for trafficking people, and I'm sure they still are. I mean, I almost got roofied at a rap concert if Spirit didn't alert me, because here, this might save someone's life. these people, these group of like 4 dudes, they tapped me on this shoulder, so I looked in this direction, and while I was looking this way, they poured the powder over my other shoulder into the top of my drink. And then as they were walking away, they were all staring at me like a predatory, like a group of predators, right? Like a group of hyenas or something. And I remember thinking that was really weird, but kind of laughing it off because it seemed innocent. And then I went to put the drink to my lips, and there was powder all on the rim of my beer, my tall boy, my fucking like $30 tall boy. And then I like just look at them, and they're all looking at me, like I said, like a pack of hyenas, and I just glared at them. We were a group of all girls. I'll never do that. First of all, I'll never go to another rap concert. The frequency there was just so demonic. Literal upside down crosses everywhere. I went to see Lil Uzi Vert, and he was flashing dead bodies on the screen, like seizure-inducing images of just dead body after dead body in black and white. It was just really demonic. So I will never go to another rap concert. Except I really liked Macklemore. I saw Macklemore and Kesha. It was like a whole 180 degrees. Like, Macklemore's concert was incredibly inspiring, but, you know, he's a recovered addict. He's done work on himself. So I really, really loved his concert, but I'll never go to like a regular rap concert ever again. But anyway, I poured out my tall boy, my fucking $30 tall boy, and just glared at them. And then they kept walking by the rest of the night like they were hoping that I ingested some of it and that they could take me away to do God knows what to me. I have no idea. Ugh, it sends like shivers up my spine just thinking about it, but Spirit always has my back. Where was I going with this? Oh, festivals. Yeah, so in like the 60s and 70s, these festivals were like breeding grounds for trafficking. So I'm reading Chaos. I think it's going to be extremely DNA activating because I was alive during that time, and I've talked many times before about what happened to me in that life and how I was trafficked, and then, you know, all this different stuff, which you can go find that. I don't know what video you would find that in, but it's somewhere on my channel. And yeah, so I'm reading Chaos, and that's going great. And then I gifted myself the Housewives Tarot because Lizzie was using this, and I felt really attracted to it. I will say both Etsy and Amazon are way upcharging because it says it's only supposed to be $20, but if you want to get it on Amazon and Etsy, it's like almost $35. So that's kind of crazy, the whole drop shipping thing that like people are just making money off of doing nothing. It's pretty annoying, but anyway, I got the deck, and thank you for the likes. And I wasn't expecting to be so triggered by this, but it was triggering me. So first of all, it's really cute. It comes in a container, and it's set up like a recipe book almost. And the way I already unboxed it, because I couldn't wait, but it says like the Housewives Tarot, and then the Major Arcana came in one section, and then the Minor Arcana, and then you get the instruction manual and the cards. So I was like reading with these for myself last night, and I was actually getting like really triggered by the imagery because there's like a lot of like 60s housewives imagery, and I thought like I'm very attracted to that time period, but at the same time, with knowing what I went through and how I was alive during that time, and I was specifically taken out purposefully, it was very triggering of like, oh my god, like this reminds me of a very dark time in history. Because when we think about it, like the civil rights movement was happening, and the women's suffrage movement was happening as well, and during that time, a lot of us, I'm getting chills, this is going to activate some of your DNA. A lot of us were alive during that time, and a lot of us were purposefully taken out because we were waking up the masses, right? So like the civil rights movement was saying, screw this, like racism isn't appropriate and we're not putting up with this anymore. Like, I have a dream, right? MLK, I have a dream that people will be judged on the content of their character and not the color of their skin. And basically humanity said, enough is enough. And then we also said women deserve equal rights too, and we said enough is enough. And so a lot of us starseeds incarnated star seeds, old souls, earth angels, you name it. We were incarnating to aid the human race in their evolution, because the 70s was also a time when kidnapping kicked up like crazy. Like when you hear about the Johnny Gosh story, like I threw myself headfirst into the Johnny Gosh story, who's that paper boy that ended up getting trafficked. There was so much. There's a really creepy movie, Mystic River, I think it's called, and it like embodies that time period and how little boys particularly were being abducted. Colin at the Paranormal Files did an incredible video on Pedo Island, and he has firsthand accounts from grown men who were children that were brought on that island. It was just a really dark time as far as trafficking and PEDO stuff was going on. And then as well, there was just also like the satanic panic, right? So it was like, that's kind of like what the Chaos book is talking about, how Marilyn Manson was like a product of the MK program, and that he was like a plant, and that he had his mind fractioned and shattered, which is through like if you give someone enough LSD, you can freaking shatter their mind and create all these different alters, and that alters, and that's what MK Ultra programming is. It's trauma-based mind control. So and they usually use the aid of like psychedelics to help break down the mind, and as someone who's had bad trips, I can see how that would be really helpful to help people to break your psyche and break your willpower. And anyway, this book is supposed to be all about that. So I got my Chaos book. I'm like really excited about that. And then I got this deck, and it was like pretty triggering. And so basically, because we were supposed to be having this movement of like taking back control over our reality with the civil rights movement, with the women's suffrage movement. And by the way, a lot of the like us who were taken out during that time, we were doing underground meetings against the PEDO stuff. So it was like, it wasn't mainstream to know about the trafficking and the PEDO stuff, but a lot of us were doing these like, we were gathering in these places like festivals and stuff and meeting each other, and then we were having these underground meetings against exactly what we're still fighting today. So this deck was very triggering for me in a way, because it reminded me that like, oh, I already tried this once and I got taken out like really brutally when I was trying to fight the systems and raise awareness against all like the evil stuff that was happening around the 60s and 70s. And then it feels like to me anyway, the government introduced cocaine in the 80s, and then that became like a big distraction. And also I know 80s, 90s, in my opinion, they released AIDS. So it's like in my opinion, that's a patented biowarfare, in my opinion, especially when we know everything we know about Fauci now, and how he was connected to that, and how they had found a cure, but then they destroyed it because they were trying to make money through fake Dharma, and it was also population control. When we really look at every psyop, it's always population control and creating patients for life with Fig Dharma. Thank you for the likes, guys. It's cool that people are on the same page as this kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, like we just had COVID, and it was the same thing. It was population control and then trying to get people to sign up to get the V every 6 weeks or whatever. So, you know, in the 80s, they rolled out cocaine and distracted a lot of people with cocaine. And then AIDS, like I was saying, I believe was biowarfare. I don't believe that was an accident. I don't believe the whole monkey story. Don't you see the coincidences as well with COVID? With COVID, they said, oh, it came from a bat. And then turns out, actually, no, it came from a lab. And also, this is crazy. I don't know if I've talked about this publicly. I've talked about it on Patreon multiple times, but I tried to do a video when things first, LOCKDOWNED, I tried to do a video, and I did a tarot reading, and it said that it was biowarfare and that it came from a lab. I uploaded it 3 times to YouTube, and each time it wouldn't upload. Like, it would say it uploaded, and then it would disappear. And then I went to look for it to try and upload it a 4th time, and it was deleted off my iCloud altogether. Like, it was just gone, guys. Like, it was gone. after the fourth time I tried, or the third time I tried to upload it. That's kind of why I shut my mouth after that and stopped like speaking out against all that stuff, because I'm like, y'all just went in my iCloud, like that's scary. But it's the same hive mind energy, right? Like everything's in the cloud. They have access to all of that shit in the cloud. So I don't know. But think about the similarities, right? You're telling me, oh, it came from monkey blood. Oh, it came from a bat. Like, but then it just ends up being population control, a really brutal population control at that, right? Because whether it was COVID or AIDS, it was brutal. People really suffered. And it marginalizes an already marginalized group, right? So it's like with the AIDS, it was like marginalizing gay men and like, all gay people really, but particularly gay men. And so it's like, now it's like you're othering them, and it's like, you, like, screw you, F you, and it's like, you're sick, you're disgusting, get away from me. And it's like, it's not their fault, but they were targeted, right? And then when we think about COVID, they were targeting people who were speaking out against this, and not even just anti-Vs, just people who were like, don't you guys think this is weird? Like, you don't even have to be anti-Vs to think that some of that stuff was suspicious, right? Or that the protocol wasn't good. So it's just, there's too many similarities, right? And then just the fact that Fauci was in charge of both, like, should tell you everything that you need to know. And as an Italian person, I've come to realize that so many of the, like, lead players in the world that are creating these crimes against humanity, they are Italian. And I'm not afraid to say that. And a lot of them, in my belief, are part of the Italian mob. And I just believe that the world is run by a bunch of mobsters and gangsters and just like criminals, right? And that's why they get away with what they're doing, because it's organized crime. Spirit just reminded me how Beyonce won that like country music award, and it's like the whole like thank Beyonce thing is just like a low level of that, right? Like if you don't thank her or give her the awards, then it's like it's organized crime, right? I don't know. But anyway, so yeah, so then in the 80s it was like cocaine and AIDS focus, and then the 90s it was heroin, right? That was when they were really introducing opioids to the public, which was major population control. And then also it was creating an addiction. So whether you're creating an addiction to pharmaceuticals or you're creating an addiction to heroin itself, it's like, right? You follow the patterns, right? It's not that hard to follow the patterns. So anyway, I got triggered because I got taken out during that time in the 70s, and in a really brutal way. And then I have like memories, like soul memories of being in this place that I call the holding space with my twin, which is just like clouds. So it's basically right before you incarnate. You're not like on the other side, you're like still involved in like what's going on. And but you're not incarnated yet. And so I have memories of just like hanging out in the holding space with my twin for like the entirety of the 80s while we waited to incarnate in the 90s, because like I'm 92, he's 93. So it was like we kind of rested after our terrible like murderous exit point that we both experienced, because we were both taken out. That's the other thing. That's why I did the twin flame spell, because a lot of us incarnated together as twins and were both like murdered. So, like, a lot of my clients and myself have had those experiences. So I have memories of being in the holding space in the 80s, and there's just something I love about, like, the ambiance of the 80s and, like, the decor of the 80s, and I think it's because I was, like, excited to incarnate in the 90s. But also, too, I feel happiest in my timeline when everything almost aesthetically looks like it's from the 80s or 90s. So whether it's like the sunset is looking super pastel in 80s, or like the environment around me is reminding me of my childhood in the 90s. Like I realize I'm in my happiest, highest timeline when I'm in the frequency of like the 80s and 90s. And then Spirit reminded me today that like a lot of the problems that we experience today, like of course there were different issues during those times, but a lot of the issues that we're experiencing today did not exist back then. So I've been trying to tap into that time period, because it was like, in some ways it really was a simpler time, and the issues that we have today didn't exist then. And so a lot of times those issues end up plaguing my mind, and that's not good, because like where your attention goes, things grow. So it's like you're manifesting those issues to be even more of a problem than they already were when you're like only focused on them. So I've been really trying to bring myself back to a state of mind, as in like focusing on my future. So focusing on like my land and my family and like my future husband and my future children, and that, and like focusing on the good of that, but also focusing on the simplicity of like the 80s and 90s. And that's why you hear about nostalgia traps, because it's like you're nostalgic for a time that never really was. Because when you're if you're like me, you're born in the 90s, it's nostalgic because you didn't actually have any problems because you were a little kid, right? Or the 80s is nostalgic because I wasn't actually there, right? So I didn't experience like the real world problems because I didn't exist. So not falling into the nostalgia trap, but also like holding on to the simplicity and the like what I like about those time periods. Take a drink. Okay. Thanks for the likes, guys. So we're going to use the triggering deck, because I have a feeling I'm going to really like this deck, but it definitely triggered me. I think it's probably a combination too, because it's like I get the book Chaos, I get the Housewives Tarot, and then like it was just a lot, I think. So all right, so I'm going to pull some cards. We've got the Fool on the bottom of the deck. So I just want to know, Spirit, like what guidance and messages do you have around like unapologetically resting? What messages do you have around unapologetically resting? The Three of Cups. Okay. So I also was like gaining meanings for these cards last night when I was looking at them. This is totally going to be my spirit baby card. So after how I told you, I got really triggered and was like, I need to go apply at that daycare now, because I just felt like I needed to be productive in order to be valid. After yoga, I was like, why would I do that? Like, I'm going to have my own kids very soon. Like, I can just feel that, like, I'm going to be pregnant soon. I just know it. Like, mark my words. I'm not usually wrong. But I'm going to have my own kids soon. Like, I might as well enjoy this kidless time instead of taking care of other people's kids that I don't know, like, and letting them sneeze on me in cold and flu season. Like, why don't I just rest? Like, why can't I just rest? Which is like how I said inspired this entire live, because I realized like I have a hard time freaking resting. And so here with the Three of Cups, it's like the Two of Cups that then come together to make a third, and this feels just such strong spirit baby energy. Now I'm also noticing the red and the blue. So when I was having my bad mushroom trip, everything was outlined in red and blue, like as if I had on 3D glasses, but I didn't, because like I said, I was tripping. And so it was just like a really dark time for me, because that was a bad trip. It was a very bad trip. I almost died and stuff. It was like just very bad. But anyway, I'm noticing the red and blue. So this, and then the red and blue are there, it's making this purple, right? So it's about two people coming together and then making something new. And I was like really thinking about that the other day. Like, it's actually freaking crazy to one day just be like a lady. Like, you're just a lady and you're just you, and that's it. And then in 1 second, all of a sudden you like can be pregnant. And now it's like, it's not just you anymore. You're literally growing a whole human in your body. And that human is a DNA combination of yourself and the person that you were sleeping with, whoever that may be, whether it's your husband or whoever. And then you grow that whole baby, and it's like one day, not to be too graphic, but one day your yoni is yours and it's used simply for pleasure. The next day it's growing an entire human, and you're going to have to push that human out of your yoni. And that human isn't just you, it's a combination of you and the person that was giving you that pleasure. And then now that child is just like a walking, talking, sentient being that is a combination of your two DNA, and they're just here forever now. And now it's your job to grow them into a person. Like, that's crazy. Like, when you really think about that, that's fucking crazy. And I get why people don't want kids, because like that's crazy, but I also get why people do want kids, because like that's crazy, right? So this is my spirit baby card in this deck so far, and I feel too, it's not about, because with the red and the blue it also reminds me of politics, and spirit's just saying like how I was talking about on my last live, like it's not about choosing sides, it's about choosing yourself, like choose the side of yourself. And so I feel like it's like almost like the angel and the devil on the shoulder, right? So like the devil's telling you don't rest, like you're not worthy if you rest, you are worthless if you don't get your dishes done, if you're not like constantly providing. And I know certain areas have this like way stronger, like this is no shade, but like I do have friends who have like Chinese friends, and I know that culture is like really really pushy about like you need to work yourself to the bone, you need to get A+++ in school, you need to like, and I know as well too, like I had a lot of Hispanic clients who were telling me that like in Kanto, where it was like we don't talk about Bruno, that's like really how the family is, and like if you're a certain way the family will disown you, and like Italian families can be a lot like that as well. But anyway, so it's like not about choosing sides, it's not about listening to the angel or the devil, it's about choosing yourself. And also too, like if you knew that your life would change tomorrow, so let's say you did get pregnant, or all of a sudden it was like you did have all these responsibilities and stuff that you were not expecting to have, wouldn't you rather have taken today to rest if you won't have the opportunity to rest tomorrow? I also too just feel like really strongly that if you've been looking for your soulmate, or you've been waiting for your romantic partner, I do see the Two of Cups coming together to make a 3, and the 3 is the spirit baby, right? So I feel like your spirit baby could be bringing you together with your person right now, or trying to call you two together as well. If you are needing to have like some serious conversations with your partner, or if you are having a reconciliation moment, spirit is saying that it is important to listen to their side, but to also voice your side. So recognizing that like your truth is important as well, but also trying to hear where they're coming from, especially if this is somebody that you do want to create a relationship with, and that you would like to have a family or a child with. So definitely your spirit baby is asking you to rest right now, because it almost feels like one of those situations where it's like you're being put, I just heard, in an incubator. So going back to babies, you're being put in an incubator right now, and you're being put in a rest period, or in a period of time where you do have a lot of downtime, because things are about to start moving very very fast, and there isn't going to be a lot of downtime or rest time. So it's like enjoy the downtime and rest time now. And also too, like we truly become worthless when we, not worthless, but unproductive, right? When we don't rest, and then when we get so sick that we're like we can't even do anything except lay in bed, that's when we truly become unproductive, is like when we don't listen to our body, and then our body forces us to slow down. So don't let the body force you to slow down. Be kind to your body before it needs to make you be kind to it. Okay, and then we have the 6 of Cups, Death, and Temperance, and the Emperor. Whoa. Yeah, this turned into a freaking love reading. I didn't mean that. So with the 3 of Cups and the spirit baby. And then we have the 6 of Cups. So this to me as well is like the children, right? Like, because when we think about it in the regular deck, it's got the 2 children and they're giving each other the flowers. So I feel like there is some kind of soulmate coming in. The spirit baby could also be some kind of soulmate. So they could be like, you guys could have signed up for them to be your child, and it's like you are destined to have this spirit baby. But I also do feel like it's like there's somebody who, okay, so either you knew them during childhood, or it's like they feel like home, they feel like family, even if you've never met, or you know, you don't know each other that well. There's something about them that really feels like home, and you're finding that kindred energy within each other. This is also, I've heard people say as well that like when a woman is with the right man, she becomes as gentle as like a child. And I thought that was like really beautiful, because as someone who's always kind of had to have my guard up, and I do it all. I freaking take care of the house, I run my business, I do the laundry, I take out the I don't get any help. And so it would feel nice to have somebody that I feel like I can just rest. Like today when I rest, the dishes aren't gonna get, I mean, I did the dishes yesterday, whatever. My laundry's not gonna get folded. My soup that I wanted to make isn't gonna get made. Like, there's all this stuff that's not gonna get done because I'm gonna choose to rest and let my body heal after I fucking took a digger on the ice. So thank you for the likes. So it's like, it feels like it's, like how I was saying, when a woman is with the right man, she can become a child because she doesn't have to be defensive. And I think it's probably the same thing, you know, for a man, where it's like he feels like he can allow this woman to nurture him without having to have all his guards up because he has this safety with her. So it really feels like that frequency of this person brings out like the innocence and the love and the purity in you, but it also feels like they heal your inner child. There is a spirit baby that, and also too, if you're fighting with your person, and how I was saying, it's about like just choosing yourself. Like, it's not about like being like, well, you did this wrong and you did that wrong. There's like a way to say shit, right? So it's like, when you did this, it made me feel like that. If you come at someone and you're like, well, you're a fucking idiot asshole, then no, they're probably not going to listen to you. But if you come at someone and you say, hey, when you did that thing, it made me really upset. It made me feel abandoned. It made me feel like you're just like every other guy. It made me feel this. It made me feel that. Like, there's a way to talk to people, and I feel like so much of that has been lost in the last 4 years because everyone was just freaking yelling at each other. I was yelling at people too, but it's like we lost that ability to have a normal freaking conversation. And it always feels like it's like us versus them. And I remember my sister taught me, she's like, in a relationship, Nikki, it's never you versus the other person, it's you two versus the problem. And that like blew my mind, because as someone who's always had to like fight for myself, I would end up fighting like friends or these relationships or whatever, because I'm just like, oh, it's like me versus you, when it's not. Like, if it's someone that you actually care about and that actually cares about you, it is not you two versus each other, it's you two versus the problem. And then it's up to both of you to be mature, because it's like, just because you're being mature doesn't mean the other person's going to be mature, and vice versa. So it almost feels like it's like Spirit's asking you to say, you two come together to make something beautiful. Stop trying to like be you versus them. It's you two versus the problem. And it really feels like the spirit baby is trying to help you guys with that. And then also with the 6 of Cups here, this is someone that you've incarnated with before. This is someone that, you know, you've had past lives with, and that does feel like home or family, and it brings out your innocence. It heals your inner child, and it also brings you that feeling of safety and security, this relationship with them. So then we have the Emperor, Death, and Temperance. So that's intense. So here are the cards. I really don't like this card in this deck. It feels really nasty. It says salmonella, and it's got like flies on it. So this to me is really like feeling like the way that death feels to like an actual body. So whether it's like a human or like an animal or whatever, it's like when something dies, it like brings decay, it brings the flies, it's very three-dimensional of that decay frequency, right? And then I'm thinking about Nebhet from Ancient Kemet. She is the spirit of decay. She's twin sisters with Aset or Isis. Isis represents life and birth, and Nebhet represents decay and death. And there is a place for both in this world, obviously, but at the same time, it's like this is a very like kind of like dirty frequency, it feels like, from this deck. And so I feel like if there has been spiritual attack on you, or if you have been like dealing with like dirty frequency or dirty energies, I feel like Spirit's saying that that's all being taken care of. Now for some of you, it could be that, and I'm like, what does this have to do with resting, Spirit? Like, why are you giving me a whole freaking love reading when I'm asking you about rest? And I think that Spirit's saying, because it's like, they just said, because other people's problems are not your problems. So sometimes you get involved in other people's issues, or you take on other people's problems as your own, or other people's karmic lessons as your own, and then it attaches this dirty energy to you. You could be like me, and you could be a spiritualist, and you're working with people's frequencies, and people don't cleanse their frequency, and then you're taking that on, and it's like, that's not helping you or your clients, where you're taking on other people's dirty energy, right? Because then it's like it's affecting you negatively, and it's not teaching them how to cleanse it themselves. Now I do feel like this soulmate that we have here that the spirit baby is guiding, I do feel like this is the Emperor. This is the person that you are going to be building something with, that you could be having a child with, right? With this card, it feels like they were dabbling in some nasty energy. So either their job is a very low vibrational frequency, or maybe for some of you very specifically, they could have a child with a karmic, and that karmic energy has been all over them and very like decay-like and holding this connection back. And so it's like maybe you were taking that on and it's not your problem to take on. So Spirit's just reminding you that. And it feels like this Emperor is finally cleansing away that like dirty energy here with the Temperance. And it says, so the little like the little sayings on the cans and stuff, so it says justice seasoning, instant anger with a dash of forgiveness, it's blue, sorrow, and then we have new joy, happiness by the spoonful. So it's like, I feel like it's like you're coming out of that like low frequency of like anger and sorrow, or that karmic energy that's been attached to your Emperor was really pulling that like sorrow, anger, like pulling these really dark emotions out of them all the time. For some of you, they are in your person's living space. Or you're the one with the karmic. You're like, and your karmic is like, even if, let's say like you kicked them out of your house, you haven't seen them in months, their energy is still in your space. So maybe they gave you something, you should go find, like if they gave you like a card or something like that, you know, there could even be like something like maybe their sock fell under your bed and it's like you've thought you cleared everything and then one day you're like, oh, this freaking sock, and you throw away the sock. Like there's something in your house if it's not this person. Now, if some of you like share a living space with a karmic, and this doesn't have to be a relationship either. You could live with your parents and your dad is just like really abusive or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know your situation. But either this karmic person is still in your living space or in your person's living space. And if they are not, there's something in there. For some of you, they could just be a crazy person too, who like they're showing me in Supernatural when the witches put those curse bags in people's houses and then they don't know that the curse bag is in the house. For some of you, they're a crazy person and they actually put like a curse bag or something in your house. And for others of you, there's if they've never been in your house, or it's like there's nothing physically, there's some sort of energetic connection with that karmic frequency. So if you're the one who's releasing a karmic, there's certain things around that karmic frequency that you need to release that will be tempering out. Now, if your person, your Emperor, is releasing a karmic, it's not your responsibility to clear the energy. They're learning how to clear that karmic dirty energy off of them. And all of that negative emotions is being shifted into joy and into justice. And they're actually, for some of you, you've been doing the spiritual work on them, so you could do healings on them, or you could do meditations where you're like making sure that the cords are cut and stuff like that, or making sure that they're grounded. And maybe you stopped because, like I was saying, you needed rest and you needed to focus on yourself. And so if you stopped like grounding for your person or clearing for your person, they're finally starting to learn how to do that for themselves. And there was just a really nasty energy that did not want them to succeed. It's almost like that, like if I can't have you, no one can kind of energy, because it is coming out with that dirty death energy. I just heard, I'm Dirty Dan. No, I'm Dirty Dan. So it's almost like this karmic was trying to act like it's almost like a destiny swapping energy. So if your person was connected to a karmic, it's like that karmic was trying to convince them like, no, I'm the love of your life. No, you want to be with me. And then if you're connected to a karmic, this person tricked you and had you thinking they were someone completely different than they were. And then they showed you, no, I actually have this nasty freaking energy. And it's like you're finally clearing it, or your person is finally clearing that out. All right. What else? So I feel like, because I'm saying, like, I was asking, like, what messages do we need to know so that we can rest unapologetically? That there's just certain karma that's not yours. So whether you're the one dealing with the karmic and the karmic is trying to put all their bad energy on you, or your partner's dealing with a karmic and they're trying to like put all the bad karmic energy on your partner, either way, not your monkey, not your circus, not your monkeys, not your circus. Either way, the karmic frequency isn't yours. So it's time to let that go and let other people figure out their own problems. Thank you for the likes. Yeah, the moon. Look, she's literally resting. And she's being watched over. And we've got the cold cream. We've got the cold cream. Okay, so for some of you, when you stop fixing other people's problems, you feel like you're being mean, or you feel like you're being rude or cold in some way. And Spirit is saying that, like, it's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's not selfish to stop cleaning up other people's messes for them. And then what is this? I think it's snap-ons. Oh, it's little hair rollers. Oops, I dropped that. It's little hair rollers. So the next full moon could be very significant for you. You could also get very tired around the moon cycle, so just honor that. Also, I'm hearing honor your moon cycle. If you are a woman, honor your hormones and your period cycle and everything like that. But I do feel like this almost feels like an ancestor to me that's watching over you, because whenever I see like the man in the moon, it always reminds me of my Nani, because that's just a synchronicity that I have for her as my guardian angel. So I feel like you have an ancestor that's like, sleep now, rest now, because I just heard, or forever hold your peace, right? Because like I was saying, things are about to get crazy. Once shit starts moving, you're not going to have all this downtime that you have. So enjoy it now instead of complaining about it. But it's like, rest now. Also, you are a light warrior. So it's like you're working in the spiritual war. So maybe you sleep for 8 hours and you wake up and you don't feel rested at all, because you were literally like smiting evil in the astral realms all night and didn't get a fucking actual wink of sleep, you know? So it's like, it almost feels like no matter what you're doing, you're not getting the proper amount of rest. So don't feel bad if you get a full night's sleep and then you still need to kind of take it easy and maybe watch a movie, because you were literally like murdering reptilians in the astral realms, you know what I mean? Like, and not like recognizing that the 3D is not the only thing that is. Like this, everything you see before you is not all that there is. Like, there is a spiritual realm. There is other dimensions. Like, so just because you're not producing in the 3D doesn't mean you're not working your ass off with like DNA activations, and that's why your body is tired, because you're doing all this astral work or spiritual work, and that's why your body needs to rest and catch up. And you know what Spirit's saying? It is time to be cold. Like with that cold cream, it is time to be cold and say, anything that's disturbing my peace, sorry, it ain't worth it. So it is, I hear Cancers are in their villain era right now, and I am definitely feeling that personally. I have no energy to put up with any crap that people are trying to put on me anymore. King of Cups. So, if you've been, so for some of you, you need to drink more water because you're not getting enough hydration along with your rest. For others of you, your person could be drinking and thinking about you. Because we have this cup of beer, and he looks a little stressed. So for some of you, if you're drinking too much, Spirit's asking you, in order to get better rest and be healthier, to maybe take a break from drinking alcohol. If you don't drink alcohol, then it's like your person is drinking a bit too much, and they're learning. That could be one of the things that they're learning how to do on their own, right? So maybe you were always the one that was saying, that's enough, like cutting them off, like no more drinks, you have to wake up in the morning. And now it's like they're learning to do that themselves, and they're having to face this within themselves. But also, someone's drinking because they miss you and they feel like they screwed up. So for some of you, somebody made a big mistake, and they're trying to drink away the pain, but it ain't working. And then I just heard that song, Peach, Fuck Away the Pain by Peaches, but I don't feel like it's like, I don't feel like they're out sleeping around. It feels like they're using vices to feel better. So even if your person doesn't drink, Maybe they just are binging Netflix, and that's not like a healthy coping skill, or maybe they play too many video games to avoid their problems, or maybe they work, like maybe they don't drink, but they freaking go to work too much and they workaholic, and then they work out, and then it's like they fill their time so much with healthy coping skills, which is great, but at the end of the day they don't actually do any of the inner work. So even though that, like, maybe they don't have like a bad vice like drinking or something, it's like they still are not doing the inner work, and they're finding excuses like, well, yeah, but I've made all this money and look at me, I'm in the best shape I've ever been in, and this and that, but it's like internally they're not doing the work. Thanks for the likes, guys. Everybody take a drink. All right, last couple cards, Spirit. Ace of Pentacles. So less is more, and this always happens to me on vacation, always. So if I'm taking a vacation, I will feel like I need to work, and because I'll be stressed, because I'll be like, oh, I'm spending so much money on this vacation, I better get to work. And then it's like the more I do, the less money I actually make. And then when I actually just start to rest on vacation and be open to receive, that's when people start making orders, or they buy spell work, or they sign up for whatever group working that we're doing while I'm on vacation. Because it's like, Spirit is saying there's way too many blurry lines between work and play. And that's great if you like your job and so it feels like play, but at the same time, there really does need to be moments of just like you're resting on vacation, because in 3 or 4 hours, you're going to do your work, right? So Spirit is saying less is more. The more you're just open to receive and in a state of trust. And that's not saying, oh, well, I'm going to quit my job because Dutch said so I can just sleep all day. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying less is more. So like the less you worry about making enough money, the less you focus on not having enough money, the less you work yourself to the bone for not fair pay, the better things are going to be, right? So when you respect yourself and you don't work yourself to the bone for like wages that are not appropriate, you actually work yourself a decent amount, and then you are getting paid for the work you're doing. Like, how many friends do I have that work for a company that don't pay them enough? They have them doing the job of 3 people, but they're only getting paid the job of 1 person. Like, that's not allowed. So it's like, when you set those boundaries and say, no, I'm only doing the work of 1 person because I'm only getting paid for the work of 1 person, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch this movie tonight, and I'm not going to feel bad about taking a rest and watching this movie tonight, that's when you actually make more money. Because the lines are way too blurred between work and play. And they're also giving me the example, I had to learn to stop answering my email at like all hours of the day. Because when you run your own business, there are no hours. Like, you have to make your hours. So like it'd be like 11:30 and I'd be reading like a rude fucking email right before I'm about to go to bed. And I had to learn the hard way, like, Nikki, you're setting yourself up for failure. Like, don't read the rude email the moment you wake up at 7 a.m. or the moment right before you're about to go to bed so that you can have nightmares about it all night. Like, there needs to be a better separation of work and play and more organization and like schedules around that. And then that's when the money comes in. And also less is more, like what I was saying for the vacation. So like one time when I was on vacation, somebody was just treating me very rude, like back home. And I kind of told him off, and I was like, listen, like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, while I'm on vacation, like, we can talk about this when I get home. Like, why are you trying to enjoy or ruin my good time right now? I'm trying to enjoy myself. And then when I stood up for myself and said, I'm not putting up with this, like, my vacation is actually going to be restful, and it's about me. It's not about other people's problems with me. They can talk to me about it in like 3 days when I get home. All of a sudden, 3 people booked the beauty spell, and I made like $300, and then I was able to go swim with a fucking dolphin later that day because I had been wanting to do that, and then I made enough money to want to do that because I respected myself. I felt like that was Spirit gifting me, like, for setting a boundary and saying, like, this isn't about you. This is about me and like me enjoying my vacation and like setting a boundary. And then it was like when I set that boundary, instantly the money came flowing in. And so less is more, setting your boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself around when it's time to work and when it's time to play and rest. Thank you for the likes, guys. And we have the Knight of Wands. So it almost feels like could be like chumps coming in here trying to knock you off your throne. But what is the Knight of Wands compared to an Emperor? They can't even hold a candle, right? It's like, this is like his sword isn't even a real sword. That's a plunger. Look, that's what I was talking about with that dirty energy. It's like these people are trying to get in with their dirty energy, but it's like their bark is way worse than their bite, and also like they can't even find you because your frequency is like rising above that. And so Spirit is also saying too, like, don't listen to these people's words. So like, let's say you do decide to take a rest, and then it's like someone comes in really fast with that dirty Knight of Wands energy and is like, well, you're so lazy. Like, how can you just sit and rest today? How lazy of you. And Spirit's saying like that, like, no, like, they can't hold a candle to you. Don't take what they have to say to heart. And isn't it always like the people who are pointing fingers that have the most work to do, right? Like, it's always everybody who wants to yell at everybody else that isn't actually doing the inner work. So just don't listen. They said, remember your frequency. If you're an Empress, don't let a King of Wands talk down, or I'm sorry, don't let a Knight of Wands talk down to you. You're in charge, not the Knight. I can't wait to shower and do my skincare. All right. This is also, too, about asking for help. So with the Ten of Wands, you're taking on too much. You can be more restful when you stop taking on everything all the time and problems that are not yours. Like what I was saying about how it's like you keep taking on karma or problems or frequencies that do not belong to you, and it's like clogging up your energy. And then perfect, we got the Chariot and the Hermit. So for some of you, Spirit's asking you to take like a little vacation or a staycation even. Like maybe like even if you just go 10 minutes up the road, but you go stay in a nice hotel for a night, like or a nice little Airbnb oasis. So some of you are being asked to take a staycation, but for others of you, Spirit, this is like reaffirming what I said. I love this card. This might be one of my favorite cards in the deck. Because you know me, I love soap. I'm such a soap girl. I love making soap, and I just love soap. And I love how vintage it looks. But anyway, so it's like right now is a time to be by yourself. Right now is a time to be in hermit mode, to literally shut everybody else out and say like, enough is enough. Like, it's time for me to just have a little spiritual bath, to light some candles, to get my rest and relaxation. And it ain't about you or your needs. It's about me and my needs. And then we do have the Chariot. And I feel like this, okay, this says, tarot, risk, gain, and choice. Okay, that's fascinating. That's what the cans say. So this is just reiterating what I was saying about how it's like rest now because things are going to take off. With the Chariot, it's like fast movement, right? So it's like getting that rest and relaxation now before things in your life start to move very fast and you don't have as much downtime to do the resting that you want to do. So let's get one of my Audacious Angels cards, and then we will get into the Reiki. And then I'm going to brush my hair. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to do my skincare. I'm going to put on my nightgown and my robe and my big fuzzy socks, and I'm going to watch the third Harry Potter because I ordered it for myself and then didn't get a chance to watch it the other night. So I'm going to watch it today, and then maybe I'll watch the fourth one. Who knows? But yeah, I'm excited to just freaking pamper myself and relax without guilt. Whoa. Okay, so we have Killer Instinct, Suit Up and Show Up, Wicked Wonders, and Grape Stomping. So this is about cutting out people, places, and things in your life that are siphoning your life force energy. Like literally like stealing from you, taking your frequency, putting their bad energy on you, right? Like how we were getting with this, with the death card of like other people's negative energy like being thrown on you. So this is about not being afraid to like cut out situations or people in your life, but also saying cut it out. So let's say you can't quit your job. You can say, I'm not doing the work of 4 people for the pay of 1 person. Cut it out. Like you can say, if you can't actually leave your job, you can still put your foot down and be like, I'm only doing what I'm paid for, because you're not actually doing anything wrong if you're just doing what you're paid for, right? So this is about having killer instinct, and I just heard putting yourself first. So if you need help with that, we just did a live yesterday or the other day about choosing yourself and putting yourself first. And then we have suit up and show up. And this card is usually about like suiting up and showing up whether you want to or not. And of course there's times in life, like I decided I wanted to go to the yoga class even after I slipped on ice, because I was like, I actually think it'll be better for my body to do a little yoga and move instead of just like going and getting like crusty and sad after I just crunched my body. Like it was good for me to move, do yoga, and then go to the sauna so that I can just rest unapologetically now. So it's like there are certain things that you do need to show up for, but what you need to show up for the most is yourself. And it's also about like, stop doing all this stuff that you don't want to do. Start saying no, like without feeling guilty. Like it's okay to say, I don't want to go to your party, or I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that. Like it's okay. And it's about putting yourself first, and just stop doing things you don't want to do. And that doesn't mean that it's like, oh, well, Dutchess told me not to do what I don't want to do, so I'm never washing the dishes again. Like, that's not what I mean. I mean, like, stop, like, when you go to your friend's house and she hasn't washed her dishes and you don't want to wash her dishes, but you do it because you're a good friend. Like, stop doing shit like that, right? Or someone asks you, like, let's go get drunk at this party, and it's like, you're not drinking anymore. It's like, well, then don't fucking go to the party, right? And just stay home instead. It's okay to say no. And then with Wicked Wonders, this is about all the good stuff that's coming in the future. And, like, it's like, you will be gifted. Some of you could be going to Disney World. I'm just going to say it because those fireworks remind me of Disney. For others of you, if you're not going to Disney World, you are going to go on a nice vacation, and you're not going to have to worry about it. So either someone's going to pay for it for you, or you're going to have enough money that it's like, I can afford this vacation. Others of you, you're literally going to Disney World. I just saw like when, like back in the day, remember that used to be like, you just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do now? And they're like, I'm going to Disney World. Like, it almost feels like this is like a big accomplishment for you. So if you've been wanting to go to Disney, that's definitely a synchronicity for you. But you're going to be gifted this. So either you're gifted it by someone else and you don't have to worry about paying for it, or the universe is gifting you the funds to be able to do this without feeling guilty. And then with grape stomping, this is about understanding that when we start setting boundaries and when we stop putting up with certain energy, things can get messy because people don't always like when we stop putting up with their bullshit. So just remember that if things are getting messy, or if it feels like, they're showing me when I clean my house, like when I'm doing like a deep clean or I'm getting rid of clutter, shit always gets messier before it gets more clean, because I have to like so yesterday I redid under my cabinet where I keep all of my like spell plates and stuff, because you have to use different stuff for spell work, because you're literally putting like toxic candles and shit on these plates. So you got to use, like, you have to have some stuff that's like only for candles, and then some stuff that's like food safe. So I have this whole cabinet with all of my like non-food safe essentials for my spell work, and it gets so messy because it's just a really inconvenient, you know, you ever had a cabinet like that it's just a fucking inconvenient cabinet with like no shelves, and it's like you're just piling everything on each other? That's what it got like. So then I had to take everything out, and my kitchen got more messy before it got organized. So Spirit is saying with that card that it's like sometimes our life is going to look more messy and more chaotic before it looks organized, but it's because you're about to get to the other side of things where things are organized. So yeah. And then Four of Swords, I have to share that on the bottom of the deck. The Four of Swords, it's about rest, it's about relaxation, it's about taking care of yourself, it's about self-care right now. Unapologetic self-care, because you deserve it. You fucking deserve it. Thanks for the likes, guys. All right, let me put these cards away, and then I'm going to get my bowls set up, and we will do Reiki. Take a drink. Okay. I've got this crystal. I don't know what it is. I think it's agate, but it's got blue and white. And then I'm going to use Oh, actually, no, I'm not going to use this one. There's oil on it. I forgot I spilled oil the other day. I didn't realize I spilled it on my crystals. It smells good. It's ritual oil, that like blue lotus oil from Australia. So I guess we won't use the labradorite. Or I guess I could just rub in the oil on the labradorite. Let me just do that. Yeah, that's fine. It smells good. You ever do that? I hate when I do that. When it's like you go to pick up your container and then the top wasn't screwed on and then you spill it. I do that too much. So, yep. Okay, so we will have labradorite today for the Reiki. And then we will have this blue one. And then we'll also be using my poppet of Yamaya as well. Okay, girls. Oh, look at the babies. Hi, guys. Just so you know, it's going to be a little loud. Mommy's going to play the singing bowl. Ice Cream doesn't really like the singing bowl. Right, Ice Cream? Sunday doesn't mind it. Sunday gets scared when I put the speaker on and I dance, but then Ice Cream likes the speaker and she likes dance when I dance. But it's kind of like Cornica. So Cornica loved the singing bowl, and Cornica was like those like rave girls that like sit on the speaker. That's what Cornica was. Like I'd take out my speaker and she would like lay right next to it. I think she liked the vibration of it, but I'd be like, your little cat ears, like, are you supposed to be that close to a speaker? But she was like one of those festival chicks. So they're kind of like, and Cornica loved to watch me dance. So they kind of like each have attributes of corn. It's pretty cool. And when Cornica first died, I don't really talk about this much, but when I do have my house, a lot of the interior decoration is going to be very like vintage and like light pink and pastels and stuff. And I went to the thrift store and I found like really cute vintage pastel decorations, and there were 2 pastel cats like statues, and I was like, do I want these? I was like, I really want these. Like, I really want these. But I was trying to like save money, and then I was like, screw it, I'm getting the 2 cats. And then I realized that like it was them. Like the 2 statues I got was literally them before I got them. And by the way, they were born while we were in Salem last year. They were born like while we were going through that portal, which is crazy because it's like it was all working out perfectly, you know? Thanks for the likes. Okay. Everybody just sit back, relax, and be open to receive. If you accept this Reiki, you have to say, I accept, either in your head, out loud. You can put it in the chat or you can put it in the comments after the fact. But in order to receive the Reiki, you must give me permission, because I'm never going to heal somebody non-consensually. So just make sure if you want the Reiki, you're consenting. If you don't want it, that's fine. There's no steps you need to take. So let's all take a deep breath. Hold it and release. because the lower chakras deal with our security and also like sense of self, right? Like it's like our more primal instincts. Like the root chakra is definitely our basic needs, so that fear of like our basic needs being met when we're not being incredibly productive in the 3D. So I'm just going to go into those lower chakras and really try and clear. And then also when we think about like the solar plexus, that's like our sense of self, our self-esteem. This safe girl chakra is where we bring life into this world, whether you're male or female. It's where your productive organs lie, reproductive organs. So I'm just going to go in and clear those lower chakras down to your feet. Some of you too, there are definitely monitoring spirits or just like negative entities that have been lurking around you. I'm not telling you that to scare you. I'm telling you that because if you've already felt that way, I'm confirming what you've already been feeling. So I'm just going to blast away any negative entities that might be watching you or trying to like be around you when they have no place in your life. So I'm just going to go ahead and blast that frequency away as I go down to your lower chakras, okay? Remember to breathe. Some of you need to watch Donnie Darko, or you just recently watched Donnie Darko. There are messages for you. I keep hearing cellar door, and then I just saw Donnie Darko. Some of you need to watch the director's cut, because I guess the director's cut actually has a lot more information that was like left out of the movie. So some of you need to watch the actual full movie of the parts that have been cut out. That whole connection in the movie. They're saying you'll be a walking zombie like Grandma Death if you don't just rest already. But also the other connections of how she's the one who gives him the information on portals, and how it's like she's the one that makes Frank get in a car accident, which then makes him run over. I'm sorry, I'm giving spoilers. Never mind. Sorry. Something for you to take away from the layers if you've already seen it recently, and if you haven't seen it recently, it's time to watch it again so that you can unpack the different layers of it, because there are messages for you there. Sometimes I doubt your commitment to sparkle motion. If you know, you know. So rest and relaxation is actually helping to keep your soul in your body instead of just like floating away all the time. Because when your soul can't stop floating away and you can't stay in your body, that's when you start to get like illness and stuff. So I'm just going to sweep you from your head to your toes with my Yamaya poppet, and I want to clear all that energy and then add in the light. breath and release. So I also cleared, not only did I clear the bodies, I cleared the home in and around your home. If there was energy lurking outside of your home, it's gone now. There's also a protective invisibility cloak that I put around you and your home to protect you from any negative entities or energies. I did see several praying mantises come in at the end as well. So for some of you, that could be a synchronicity if you work with praying mantis interdimensionals. Others of you may have mantis DNA, and one of the ways that you'll know that you have mantis DNA that's being activated is very much like an exoskeleton. You will feel clicking like right here, like almost like right in that hole where your collarbone is. You will feel a clicking as if there's like a flap going in your neck, like it'll be like you might also hear clicking. That's a very common experience when you have them come visit you, like physically, they click like that, and you will feel the clicking right here, almost like a flap opening. And it's very much that like insectoid interdimensional DNA that's being activated. And yeah, it feels weird, but you'll get used to it after a while, and then it won't last forever. Like, once your DNA is activated, it'll stop doing that until the next time that you need an upgrade. So, just gonna say thank you. Thank you to my guides, guardians, ancestors, angels, star family, higher self, Yeshua, Baal, Ra, Yamaya, Kornika, and God Source for allowing me to be the channel through which these messages flow. We thank you for the truth, and we thank you for the advice. I'm Al Rashi Namaste, by the power of three, Samotic Be always works, always a blessing. All right. Let me check the chat. Hey Kenna, this was a super awesome live. Thanks so much. You're welcome. Thank you, Duchess. You're welcome, Ember. Hi. Hey Maria, great live, gotta bounce. Well, thanks for coming while you could be here. Hey Teresa, can't wait to listen back to this. My friend and I are sick. Oh my gosh, and so are the kids. We just mass cleansed the whole house. I'm so ready to rest. It sounds like DNA activation, right? And being forced into a state of rest. So I'm happy that you're able to take that time for yourself now. I accept. Lucky me coming in. I'm sorry, weird kind of sick. Wait! I'm some weird kind of sick. Robin, yeah, sounds like everybody's getting sick. That's because you have to rest. I am open to receive and accept this Reiki. Good. Yin Yang. Bro, they low-key remind me of twin flames. Wait, which ones? The Donnie Darko and his girlfriend? Yeah, that's relatable. I just made some green juice to nourish my body. Awesome. You're Dutch? Well, me too. I actually am. I'm Norwegian. I don't know if that's the same thing. Sorry if I'm wrong. Okay. Oh, my kitties? They remind you of twin flames? They are the opposite of each other. They're sisters, and they have the same markings, but in different colors. I'm waiting for my throat chakra sound bolt to come in. It felt great. Thank you so much. You're welcome. You're so welcome. I'm tired of YouTube never notifying me. Yeah, same. I'm tired of YouTube not notifying my subs either. Push that crown back in place. I broke my crown and empowered my heart. Wow. Let them peasants be peasants. Exactly. Yep, I'm in corporate. It's all true, Dutch. I'm glad it was resonating. How much time of self-reflection is good per day or week? I think that depends on the person, right? I think nobody can really tell you when you're getting out of balance. You have to know. Like how I was talking about how, like, even though I was grieving, like, Kornica passing away, it got to a point where even though it felt hard, I did have to pick myself up and, like, start living my life again. Haha, that's funny. Teresa said she started singing the song. I said, I must have heard you. Not me spanking a bottle of water because I'm dehydrated. Been putting in the work in the astral. Yeah, a lot of us have been tired from the astral realm. Yep, exactly. Yes, wings and swords fighting in the astral realm. Yep. I got a whole man, I gotta get out of my house. Yep, felt that. Haha, I'm Dirty Dan. No, I'm Dirty Dan. This reading is so about me. Wow. Yes, my dad is narcissistic and has a low vibe. I still live with my family, but will leave soon. Hopefully, I have my person's tarot deck under my bed. Awesome. Any tips for resting after on and off astral travel experience? Honestly, no. I'm still trying to figure that out too. I have no frickin' clue. Other than pulling your soul back in your body, because I'm the most tired when I didn't fully get to hop back in my body before I wake up, because sometimes you wake up before your soul like lands in your physical form, so just making sure that you pull your soul back in. But yo, someone's in here called Trump is Your Daddy. I actually just listened to that song. I couldn't believe I was listening to Roseanne Barr rap, but it was awesome. Alright, I'm going to get going, guys. That was a freaking long live because I don't know how to do anything in a short period. I don't know how to make short form content, but that's okay. But I love you guys. Take care, and I will see you soon. Alright. Remember to share and like and your skibbity. I hope that's good. Am I Skibbity Riz, Rylan? I don't know this. I don't know this, this lingo. You can leave it, Lizzie. Like, stuff like that, as long as they're not calling me names. But, alright. Yep. Bye, guys. I love you. Take care. I'm signing off. Skibbity Riz. Bye-bye.